After quantifying the soul, Chi-Ji covered an ancient and broken AI in the interstellar space with his own data. Through self-inspection, Chi-Ji found that there were not only consciously transmitted and backed up related data in his own database. It can also connect to a special LAN. The original Blue Star LAN. The art style of interstellar space was subsequently discovered to have changed. Soul-type player. Everything is ready, today we must cook up this nest of void demons in one pot. Strategic player. The opponent's strategy is indeed good. Where did my beheading special team go to the Imperial Federation? Old 6 player. I specially replaced it with a biomimetic body of a small insect, and even spent so many resources to buy a swarm of biomimetic mechanical insects. I don't believe I can't sneak into the insect nest. Collecting players. Oh my goodness. This monster has 9 heads, it must be a rare breed with high collection value. Empire Federation, Star Zerg, Void Demons, and other races. Recently, it seems that some dirty things have appeared in the interstellar space. Felu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Mechanical Era, First Test Start. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Warning. Warning. Unknown data stream is undergoing data coverage. Unknown data stream is undergoing data coverage. Please do it promptly. ZZ. A little. ZZ, with a different electric current sound echoing here. A portrait of a man appeared on a shattered screen in the center of this place. Looking at the scene outside through the screen that would sometimes turn black and white at that time, the man's face in the picture was filled with joy. I immediately conducted a self-check on my own state. AI. Chi-Ji, current carrier. 666 ancient abandoned base, integrity 3%, current energy. 366 days June 6, 06 seconds, current computing power. 12600, database. Consciousness transfer and backup, mechanical manufacturing, level 1, LAN. Blue Star LAN. Looking at his current state, Chi-Ji fell into contemplation. This local area network serious. 3 months later. 666 ancient abandoned base. Roar. When a monster with a tiger-like appearance but a coxcomb snake tail roars and pounces at a mechanical body. 2 red lasers suddenly shot out from the darkness on the side. Instantly pierced through the 2 heads of this monster from the side. The monster's body lost control and fell heavily to the ground with a loud bang. After confirming that this monster has lost its vital signs. The screen in the center of this place, which had many broken pieces and even faintly exposed wires, slowly lit up. Looking at the corpses of monsters on the ground. Chi-Ji on the screen withdrew the computing power allocated to the 2 4-legged robotic arms. After a heavy sigh, he skillfully disassembled this monster by pouring computing power into 6 3-claw robotic arms used for mechanical manufacturing. A little. Looking at the 2 blue broken diamonds in the 3-claw robotic arm. The calm expression on the screen only eased a bit. Put one of them into the energy conversion device to absorb and replenish some of the energy lost by the previous attack. The other one was grabbed by him with a 3-claw robotic arm and came to the top of a mechanical body that had been pieced together. Skillfully opening the metal skull of this mechanical body, the blue small diamond was inserted into it to start the activation program. 1 hour later. Looking ahead at the 101 mechanical bodies that are starting to self-charge and enter standby mode. Chi-Ji in the electronic screen reached out and wiped the sweat on her head. The final self-inspection before the plan began. AI. Chi-Ji, current carrier. 666 ancient abandoned base, integrity 3%, current energy. 66 days 6.06 minutes 6 seconds, current computing power. 12600, database. Consciousness transfer and backup, mechanical manufacturing, level 1, LAN. Blue Star LAN. Glancing at the time when I can still hold on to my current energy, I also looked at the 101 mechanical bodies that were pieced together outside the screen. Chi-Ji couldn't help but want to leave a few drops of cyber tears behind. Difficult. It's too difficult. It's really too difficult. I originally thought that becoming an AI could lead to billions of dollars better than when I was a human. I didn't expect to start in hell directly. Based on the residual data stream I analyzed from that ancient and broken AI. The resources and energy on this planet have long been hollowed out and packed away by unknown races ahead. In terms of resources. Except for rags, it is rags. Even the carrier itself. It's all because an ancient interstellar war was shattered and 99% of the data was lost. Due to the long period of time. Only then will my quantized soul find an opportunity to complete data coverage. Therefore, to create an imagined army of qualified machinery here is like a pipe dream. Not to mention creating AI special machines that can perfectly carry extremely high computing power. In terms of energy, the previous reasons will not be repeated. Unfortunately, there are still some unknown monsters here who are attracted by electronic frequencies and want to come and dismantle their existing carriers. Causing oneself to consume a small amount of energy to kill them. Although these monsters cannot withstand the attacks of the two four-clawed laser robotic arms they retrieved. Even oneself can supplement energy through energy conversion devices. But in such a situation, it's simply not enough to make ends meet. Keep going according to this situation. I may not even be able to say goodbye to this dog-day world in 66 days. Sigh. After emitting a heavy sigh from cyber electronics, Chi-Ji silently threw a data stream into the Blue Star LAN. The fourth natural disaster, don't let me down. Blue Star, 2036. Hey. How could there be a game company that's not afraid of death these days that dares to release interstellar games? Hu Xiaobao, who was on vacation and playing games with a virtual helmet at home, was slightly stunned when he saw the pop-up push message. A few years ago, reading brain waves allowed people to play virtual technology as if they were dreaming. Many people enter and play with the heart of Kaiguta. But the harvest is one pile of dog poop after another. Including but not limited to stumbling over roadside stones and exploding, laser sunbathing monsters, and switching from flying to 2D visuals. Therefore, many people turn their attention to games like fantasy, which are not deeply connected to reality but have diverse gameplay. With some nostalgic thoughts, Hu Xiaobao clicked on the link and entered the game's official website. At the entrance, there is a 1-minute and 40-second video with a broken screen. The first half of the video. Yellow sand fills the sky, and from time to time, some peculiar monsters enter the scene, fight against each other, or pass by in groups. The second half of the video. In a dilapidated abandoned base, a large number of dilapidated mechanical bodies lie on the ground. Occasionally, an arc surges from the exposed lines. Finally, a large line appears at the end of the video. Friendly reminder. The first test quota for mechanical era is only 100 people, first come, first served. Look at the final prompt. Hu Xiaobao did not log in directly to the game in a hurry. But instead, I closed the video and started watching the official website of the game Mechanical Age. After all, if even the official website of a game is perfunctory, then the game content is so damn. Take a look around. Although the official website features of this game, Mechanical Age, are somewhat limited and can even be described as rudimentary, only basic background introduction and a game forum. But judging from the few photos in the basic background introduction that are full of wasteland atmosphere, this game company has at least put in a lot of effort. Hu Xiaobao thinks. Even though the game content inside may disappoint him. But he should also try playing this game with the artist who can build these few photos. Emma, may every hard-working person receive a response. Chapter 2. Players rush in, mission begins. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Enter the login interface. What catches the eye are several green data streams of 0 and 1 surging. Looking at the login environment of this cyber style, Hu Xiaobao couldn't help but feel a glimmer of anticipation for his upcoming game. Welcome, 6th player. This game will adopt a game mode of consciousness transfer and backup, allowing you to explore the world in a mechanical body. Choose a mechanical body that you like and start your mechanical era. Looking at the 95 mechanical figures with different shapes displayed in front of me. Although most of them are rudimentary, looking at the mechanical bodies that have appeared in the video, Hu Xiaobao felt the dedication of this game company. Quickly selected a mechanical body that met my aesthetic preferences and casually named it ID, Headwind Investment, with the final confirmation button pressed. Hu Xiaobao's consciousness turned into a stream of data and began to flow towards the mechanical body he had chosen. At the same time, Qi Ji was carefully feeling the surge of data flow in the Player 1 matrix. Suddenly, several data streams flow out of the matrix port and into several mechanical bodies from the circuit. Soon, the mechanical bodies stood up from the ground and looked around. Here we go. See if the people in that world are what they think. ID. I don't eat beef, carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-10, energy. 23 hours, 59 minutes, 56 seconds, computing power. 100/1000, self-computing power/carrier computing power bearing limit, ability. None, ID, weapon master, carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-002, energy. 23 hours, 59 minutes, 56 seconds, computing power. 100/1000, ability. None, ID. Second Battalion Commander, carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-003, energy. 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 55 seconds, computing power. 100/1000, ability. None, ID, Headwind Investment, carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-006, energy. 23 hours, 59 minutes, 48 seconds, computing power. 100/1000, ability. None. Looking at these ID names, Qi Ji felt a faint excitement in her heart. But for safety reasons, he did not speak immediately, but waited quietly on the side for other players to enter. By the way, listen to their conversation and make a final confirmation of your own guesses. Duong. 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 This sound, this texture. It's broken. I'm a dumb player. Are you going to overturn? I've hit a good game. Brother, look at me. Pressing this device in the throat can change the sound. Zoom do fake do, let me give it a try. Trough. Fingers are too thick to reach in, do you have a thinner brother to help you? If I unplug the overhead data cable of these machines lying on the ground, wouldn't it be one less game spot? I can't pull it out, there will be a warning. Don't ask me why I know. Hey. Brother, according to your accent, is it from Sichuan province? Chengdu D. NU. Kwai. I am also from Chengdu D. After communicating with these 100 players for a while. After completing the final confirmation, Gu Chang'e turned off the surrounding lights and displayed himself on the shattered display screen. Good evening, players. I am Qi Ji, an AI from ancient abandoned base 666. Seeing Qi Ji, everyone began to discuss in a low voice. I'll go. This AI's face is so handsome. I really want to have a monkey with him. Are you serious, buddy? This is really AI. Can AI give birth to cyber monkeys? With the face of this AI combined, we can surpass all of you, okay? Hee hee. The result is the same without you. Shoo, keep it down, we're just going through the plot. 666 Ancient Abandoned Base. Why do you feel like we need to find a fuse again? In order to avoid those who are not engaged in their work wasting this limited energy, everyone's discussion is important. Chi-Ji decisively chose to abstain from speaking. But the people who were banned not only did not get angry, but also began to get excited. Is it so neat? Just start the plot. Sure. Sure. As you can see, in the past battles, the base here suffered great destruction, which caused me to lose a lot of data. If possible, I would like to ask you to find resources for me so that I can improve and evolve myself. Say it. Chi-Ji directly sent a long-term mission to everyone. Long-term task. Find the resources needed for AI. Chi-Ji, rewards. Computing power, energy, accept/reject. For this task, everyone naturally chose to accept it. However, just as they were about to ask Chi-Ji what kind of resources he needed, there was a heavy collision sound behind them. Follow the sound. A monster that looks like a lion but has a pair of huge bat wings behind it, with a body size of nearly 5 meters, is trying to squeeze out of a metal cage. Although underestimating the power of this monster. But Chi-Ji did not directly use the 4-claw robotic arm as before, consuming energy and using the laser emission device to kill it. But rather preparing to borrow this monster to make everyone understand the importance of resources. Attention players, due to a large amount of data loss, the basic information of this monster cannot be displayed. Please make every effort to kill it. Task. Kill monster at $% at, reward. Computing power plus 100, accept/reject. Chapter 3. Raise your head and make new discoveries. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Task. Kill monster at $% at, reward. Computing power plus 100, accept/reject. Looking at the sudden release of a new task, many people who just came to try it out and see the scenery didn't want to take it. But the monster ahead, after squeezing out the metal cage, actually directly tackled the nearest player. Oh my god. I'm not ready yet. Click. This player's words are not yet finished. His metal head was bitten off by the monster, and he chewed it a few times and swallowed it into his stomach. Although the monster was puzzled why these foods had a meat aroma, they tasted a strange smell. But being kept in an iron cage as bait for a few days, it was already starving to the point of going crazy after tasting the bloody taste on the surface of these foods. Don't worry about anything else. Immediately use sharp teeth and limbs to tear and bite at the remaining food. However, for this situation, many players, however, did not panic too much. Many bold individuals actively approached this monster upstream. The modeling of this monster is great. It looks quite barbaric. Yeah. Look at its fur. If you could trim it, pulling it out would definitely save face. When you say that, I suddenly have a bold idea. Coincidentally, I also have a bold idea. During the public discussion, the mechanical body of the first player has been dismantled and eaten by this monster. Watching no food escaping around, the monster extended its tongue and licked its lips. It's been a long time since I've encountered such a foolish prey. Make sure to eat enough before running while that strange long monster doesn't appear. Who? He pounced on the food that was about to reach out and touch his head, and proceeded to swallow it in one bite. And then the beauty began to be enjoyed again. Seeing this monster start burying its head and eating food again. Some bold players are preparing to take this opportunity to take a look at the monster's brain bag. A player suddenly loudly passed on the news he had just learned to everyone. Be careful, brothers. After my brother was killed, it was prompted that there were insufficient resources and he could not be resurrected. Now we can only queue outside and wait for us to collect resources and hand them over to AI. Let AI help him create a new mechanical body before he can come back in. Hear this player's words. A player with the ID collector turned his head and looked at the monster in front of him who was still burying his head in cooking. Turn around and communicate with this player. Brother, can you show your buddy if he wants to recharge? The player shook his head directly. I just showed him, I can't find the recharge entrance. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone couldn't help but discuss. Isn't it? If we're all gone and no one collects resources for AI, wouldn't it be impossible to play this game? I can't do it. It just started. It's because it's just started that Dog Planner dares to do this. I bet as long as we can't get through this plot, Dog Planner dares to persuade the official to cut this game. Upon hearing this, many players couldn't help but turn their heads to look at the monster working hard ahead, with a faint red light emanating from its cold mechanical eyes. Although it's just such a short time. But this game is definitely the best virtual game they have ever experienced, no one. And you can enter this game. Except for a small number of people who try, the majority of people enjoy playing interstellar games. If this makes the dog plan successful. It's just that I haven't experienced this mechanical era myself, but now I've experienced being cut off by the dog strategy. Midnight dreams come back. I'm afraid I didn't want to feel gastrointestinal discomfort, and I regret not putting in my life for this game. And then suffer from the disease of constipation. This monster must be dealt with today. It's necessary. I don't allow this conscience game to be planned and cut off by the dog like this. Brothers, let's discuss something. Let's take the lead and help those who survive collect resources to revive us. How about doubling the compensation to you afterwards? Yes. Don't worry, surviving brother. My friend's ID is called Collector. We will double the supply to you then. What do you mean? Just charge ahead and I, the life player, will definitely help you out. The same. I also help you with my love of moving bricks. Damn it. Duck. Duck. Without any worries, the players ahead no longer hesitate. Waving his iron arms and legs, he rushed towards the monster in front of him, which was still a large and blossoming creature. For these players who rushed towards themselves, the monster disturbed to eat opened its huge bat wings and let out a roar at these players. However, the intimidation of Bai Shi Bai Ling in the past has lost its effectiveness in front of these players. The player who rushed to the front jumped up directly at the monster's big eyeball, which was a big electric cannon. The intense pain in the eyes made this monster roar again. However, before this monster could brutally kill the food that dared to resist it first. Other players around have already gathered around. Iron arms and legs frantically greeted the monster, making it extremely angry. To the first player who dared to resist it, he slapped his metal head with a claw and flew it away. However, the imagined intimidating scene still did not appear, and the empty space of the food was directly filled by the players behind it to continue surrounding it. A peripheral player saw this. With the idea of leaving an original mechanical head for this guy, I bent down and grabbed the metal head, ready to find a place to put it down. The metal head suddenly quickly opened and closed its metal jaws, making a clattering sound. This scared the guy with the head and threw it out with a loud, lying trough sound. After rolling a few laps on the ground, the metal head quickly opened and closed its upper and lower jaws towards the nearest player. The player with the ID named Mechanic has seen this. Reaching out, he picked up the metal head and looked below. When I noticed that the circuit was discharging current outward, I flipped my metal head upside down and reached out to play with the circuit. After trying a few times, the metal head emitted a furious sound. Brother, are you really capable? Can't you? At the end of the sentence, the metal head paused slightly. Immediately, he quickly said to the mechanic ahead. Brother, quickly lift me up, I have a new discovery. Chapter 4. The scalp itches and the brain grows. You are listening at novel full.audio. The player mechanic heard this. Raise the metal head of this ID named Mindless Man high above your head. The brainless man immediately shouted at the numerous players ahead with force. Brothers, protect your brain melon seeds. As long as the brain melon seeds are not broken, they won't pop up. You can watch the battle on sight. Hear the roar of the brainless man. All the players in the field, including those who are besieging the monster, turned their heads and looked over. After noticing that the brainless man only has one head, he is still in the game. The red light in the eyes of many players has become even more intense. Then you're afraid of a ball, you're so reckless. Nearby brothers, help keep an eye on it. If there's anything wrong, kick your head out. +1. My buddy has a dream of becoming a war correspondent and watching the entire plot. Don't be so focused on talking. Get down. Crouching slot. What are you doing with the guys behind you? You're actually poking the monster chrysanthemum with the bodies of other guys. That's a great idea. I'll come too. 2 minutes later. Hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo. Looking at the monsters in the metal cage, many players felt a sense of difficulty. Grandma's leg. We've always only been stuck in the terrain with our buddies, but this time we've been blamed for getting stuck in the terrain. No. This iron cage only has this one gap, at most 3 can fit in. What's even more disgusting is this monster. If we don't look at it, it looks like it's about to burst out. If we do this, we won't dare to scatter and do tasks randomly. Sooner or later, we'll be dragged to death here. Yeah. Even though it was about to pile up, it ended up being a complete death. I don't have much to do with my hands, using other players' mechanical bodies to smash it is just to give it food. It's so disgusting. The planning for Dog Day must have been deliberately designed like this. It's really disgusting. While everyone was angrily cursing the dog planner. A player with only upper body supports himself to a higher position with both hands. Everyone, I have come up with a solution. Let's proactively feed this monster and hold it to death. Upon hearing this, everyone couldn't help but cast a mechanical red light at the player, saying, "Are you a big fool? Brother, your name really suits you." Throwing against the wind. It's amazing. Don't pay attention to him, let's continue to find a way. While everyone was trying to think of other ways, another player with an ID named Italian Cannon spoke up. I think this method works. Upon hearing this, just as everyone was about to have a good chat with this guy, they saw the Italian Cannon speak up and explain. Since the game officials are engaged in such games, no matter how shameless the planners are, they dare not violate the corresponding laws of physics. I have attacked this monster's belly before, and I heard the sound of metal collisions coming from inside. No matter how good the monster's digestive system is, it's impossible for it to digest all the mechanical bodies it eats so quickly. Anyway, if we continue this stalemate, it will be a loss. Why don't you try actively feeding me? As long as there are symptoms, let's rush into the iron cage. Upon hearing the explanation of the Italian Cannon, everyone couldn't help but discuss. It seems like this. I feel like I can give it a try. Damn it. The scalp is so itchy, it's about to grow a brain. I didn't expect. There are actually 2 smart people among us. Brother Windward, the situation has become smaller. I apologize to you. Right. Brother Fong, if we succeed this time, I will donate 2 mechanical knees to you afterwards. I only think of the level of backstabbing monsters. Ah, right. That's what I think. The determined crowd quickly threw the mechanical bodies of many fallen players into the iron cage along the gap. Then, under the command of the Italian artillery, Chi-Ji the broken screen that appeared was surrounded in the middle. Do it this way. It's not that the Italian Cannon knows that Chi-Ji can handle this monster. But rather worried that this monster would suddenly come and kill Chi-Ji. After all, dog planners can think of the disgusting operation of making monster card players terrain. After it is difficult to guarantee that there will be no remaining blood, forcefully break out of the cage and destroy the AI. Chi-Ji, entering the plot to kill. As a strategic player, he has always harbored the greatest malice towards enemies, especially dog planners. 3 minutes later, the monsters in the cage are determined that many players dare not rush in again. Finally, unable to resist the bloody smell on those mechanical bodies, I buried my head and started cooking again. It's starting. It's starting. Shoo, keep your voice down. Don't disturb this little lion's dining. Let's start a video. It feels like this picture can make a meal. Go back and I'll use nails to match Baijiu. I'll go. Are you so ruthless, buddy? In the midst of everyone's quiet discussion, the monster quickly swallowed the mechanical body thrown into the cage. Looking at the monsters, I can still eat, look. Everyone couldn't help but turn their gaze to the Italian cannon. What do you say? Hey buddy, give me an idea. In the eyes of everyone, after thinking for a while, the Italian cannon expressed its own thoughts. I think so. We still have 68 people, and if I were a dog planner, I would have to take down at least half of the players. For safety reasons, let's rely on our own gaming experience. Leave behind a group of high gamers and those who are good at resource collection, and the rest are ready to voluntarily dedicate themselves. Bang! As soon as the Italian cannon finished speaking, a loud noise echoed among many players. Chapter 5. Weakness and Stiffness, Psychological Comfort. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Follow the sound. Feng Feng 2 has already used his 2 robotic arms to pull out his head. The metal head rolled down to the ground with a gurgling sound. After hitting a player's foot and stopping, speak to the crowd. This matter was brought up by my buddies. And I only have one upper body, take mine and feed it first. Take the initiative to sacrifice oneself when facing the wind. The people who were originally hesitating also dispelled their hesitation in their hearts. Count me in. This is missing a leg, it looks awkward. +1, I'm missing one arm. When I first hit the monster, I don't know where my finger fell. Add me. I came over to try out fantasy games, I don't understand many things. I still have classes tomorrow, so let me dedicate myself to waiting for resurrection. The Italian cannon looked at the situation and nodded in admiration for the headwind toss. Not bad, fortunately, I recorded it myself. Later, I will organize it and make a video, which can be shared with those little soldiers in the army. Based on the principle of not wasting, the Italian cannon chose a more conservative feeding method. Feeding one by one. Soon. When the number of heads added to the audience reaches 32, with the head not retrieved in the middle, the monster in the iron cage did not continue to eat this time. But instead, he waved his claws and pushed the mechanical body that everyone had thrown aside, while he slowly lay on the ground. Seeing this situation, the Italian cannon looked at the person next to him and nodded lightly, saying, I don't eat beef. As one of the recognized high-level players in the field, I don't eat beef. After holding my metal fist and hitting the hammer twice, I made a metallic impact sound and entered from the gap in the iron cage in the mechanical eyes of the players emitting red light. The monster in the iron cage looked at me as I walked in, not eating beef, and even as I did before, I slapped it with a claw. However, in this limited space, I didn't eat beef, but instead made a flexible roll and dodged in a posture that went against common sense. Regarding this, the monster still wants to continue attacking. But I don't eat beef and my legs are already staring at the iron cage. Arrived behind the monster in a rolling ball manner. Looking at the 2 soft lumps of flesh pressing under the monster's back door. My mechanical eyes, which do not eat beef, lit up with a surprising red light in my heart. Retract your prepared fists. I lifted my mechanical right leg. Hoo! Roar! In a painful roar, the monster jumped up from the ground and crashed into the top of the iron cage. After landing, he bent his body hard and tried to pick up his hind legs. Look at the monster's appearance. Many players watching the battle feel a tightness in their hips. And that's not all. I didn't let go of this monster just because I didn't eat beef when I found the opportunity. When the monster wants to endure the discomfort in its stomach and turn its body in a relatively narrow cage. I don't eat beef, but lifting my fist towards the slightly bleeding soft meat is like a fierce hammer. The monster, who was turning around, stiffened and stopped turning. There were bursts of painful growls in the mouth, and at the same time, I exerted even more force to clamp my hind legs tightly. However, for the monster's action to stop, I don't eat beef, I just think it's because the other person has been hit by myself and has become weak and stiff. He did not stop his attack. Instead, it accelerated the movements of its own hands, striving to knock out this weakness once. Click. With a sound resembling an egg shattering, it sounded. The monster's eyes were filled with 2 lines of muddy tears. Many male players outside the cage are watching this kind of scene. Unexpectedly, he felt a phantom pain and reached out to block his crotch. The female player who survived the disaster was the one who patted her metal chest. It's okay. Fortunately, I don't have this thing myself. After a lump of soft flesh was shattered, the monster seemed to have opened up the Rendu's 2 meridians. Although I don't eat beef, I am still exporting another soft meat. But it still forced the pain in its crotch to turn its body around. Staring at me with bloodshot eyes, I don't want to eat beef, I wish I could eat it raw and suck the marrow. However, for such a situation, instead of eating beef, I let out a light laugh and pointed my bloody robotic arm behind it. One loss, you really have to eat twice. Although I couldn't understand why I didn't eat beef, I watched the other person's movements. The monster's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Before it could turn its head, 2 piercing sounds came from behind. Watch my twin dragons go out to sea. Electric light poison dragon diamond. Roar. The attack behind made the monster emit a suppressed roar. All the people outside the cage, except for those with only their heads left, made a unified action. Blocking the robotic arm towards the back. If there is a difference to be made. Probably one-handed and two-handed. Is this high play? Too cruel. It's really cruel. Hurry up and jot down the IDs of these 3 people. I don't eat beef, I only ate a bowl of cold noodles. Great. If I really confront these 3 guys in the future. Whatever you say, you have to make yourself wear titanium alloy underwear. What are the things that mechanical bodies don't have? Who said that in the future, there will be no robots like Terminator that are no different from ordinary people? And this titanium alloy underwear is designed to provide psychological comfort. Otherwise, faced with these 3 people, I always feel uneasy. Chapter 6. Entering the Iron Cage, Player Card. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In an iron cage. After the monster is attacked from the rear, its first thought naturally wants to change direction. But when I think about what the animal ahead has done to me, it can't swallow the breath in its heart. Suppressing the tearing pain in the back, he roared and rushed towards me not to eat beef. See the situation. I sighed helplessly without eating beef and tried to lean towards the back of the iron cage. After being held down by this monster, the command of Italian cannons came from behind at the right time. Enter. Numerous players heard this and quickly rushed into the iron cage in groups of 3, following the previously arranged order. When this monster discovers something is wrong. Behind the iron cage, there are already 5 groups of 15 players, plus the 3 players who entered earlier. A total of 18 players. The iron cage instantly occupied nearly 9/10 of the space. While making the space extremely cramped, it also made the monster lose its ability to turn around. Ha ha ha, little lion. We're here. I also want to experience the feeling of playing high, hee hee. Son thief. You really like the terrain, right? With the continuous influx of subsequent players. The monster in the iron cage, who was already feeling uncomfortable after eating too much metal, became increasingly manic and began to struggle frantically. By the space above the iron cage. Surprisingly, it struggled to find a certain space, allowing it to adjust its discomfort within its body. Note this situation. I originally wanted to pretend to be dead and resurrect, but I didn't eat beef and quickly shouted to the people behind me. Brother from behind, don't rush to the front, there are also some people stuffed on top. This monster can still adjust its position. I heard that I don't eat beef. The face monster may not know why this prey can still speak after losing its body. But the previous hatred combined with the current situation of being unable to turn around. Angry, it opened its huge mouth and bit at the metal head that was left of me not eating beef. The players outside also reacted upon hearing this. Gone. I forgot about this one. The brothers outside are squeezing more up there. Quick, fast, fast. Don't let this little lion jump, my mechanical leg has been stepped on and broken. Brother Beef, don't worry, brother. I will fulfill your last wishes. Don't be naughty. Hurry up and squeeze forward to leave space for the brothers behind to move up. Outside, due to voluntary dedication, he was arranged to be in the best audience position like the brainless man, facing the wind. Thinking of unleashing his remaining heat, he suggested to the Italian cannon beside him. Lao Tai, why don't you put your brother's head there? Who? His words are not yet finished. He and the brainless man's metal heads were already being carried by Italian cannons one by one towards the iron cage. As the Italian cannon ran, it said to the two people. Brother, we will be fortunate to suffer you later. Brainless man. Oh, I understand. Look at me. Headwind investment. Two brothers, I don't know if it's my illusion. I feel like what you're saying is not the same thing. Three people, one person and two heads quickly entered the iron cage. Without any accidents. After the Italian cannons squeezed into the iron cage, the brainless man and the headwind threw two people. He was directly thrown forward through the gap above, to fill the space that was difficult for everyone to reach. The person behind them, seeing the situation, followed suit and threw up the metal heads of others. Prepare to fill all the remaining gaps. In this situation, the brainless man and the metal head thrown against the wind were unexpectedly squeezed in front of the monster. The brainless man looked at the big eyeballs close by and suddenly chuckled. Little lion, are your Kazlan's big eyes still flickering with a glint of spirit? Hear the voice of the brainless man. The monster may not understand its meaning, but it has not forgotten that it is this food that led the way in resisting it. Otherwise, how could I possibly encounter such a situation? Think of it here. The monster's hatred directly shifts. Ignoring the feeling of crowding from behind. Lift your head up in the space where it's difficult to turn your head, and open your mouth to bite it into pieces. But just as it tried to open its mouth and prepare to bite the brainless man's head to pieces. The brainless man, however, opened his big metal mouth first when his huge teeth bit down. Bited down the monster's tongue heavily and gave it a true tongue kiss. That pair of Kazlan big eyeballs flowed 2 rows of physiological saline uncontrollably. I want to close my mouth heavily, but I'm afraid it will deepen the pain in my mouth. Under helplessness. The monster could only make a whimpering sound with its mouth slightly open. Note this situation. The nearby mechanical eye of the headwind cast a red light flash, even if you want to follow along. But this time the monster learned to be clever, as it opened its metal jaw against the wind and prepared to bite it. Surprisingly, he pressed his tongue down and swallowed the metal head thrown against the wind into his stomach. Regarding this, The red light in the mechanical eyes of the brainless man turned even redder. However, just as he was about to increase his strength and seek revenge against the wind, the monster's body was filled with laughter thrown against the wind. Ha 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 ha, I said this monster hasn't changed much, so it's like this. Brothers outside, stabilize first and follow my command. We're done with this monster today. Chapter 7. Internal and External Cooperation, Clever Use of Computing Power. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. I heard the slightly dull sound of the monster's belly being thrown against the wind. The many players outside fell silent at the right time. Brother Fong, didn't you hang up? A player leaning against the monster's belly tentatively asked. No. After answering against the wind, he continued, brothers, listen to me. Our feeding method has been successful. It's just that this monster's stomach is a bit strange, and it will adjust when those metals are about to pierce their internal organs. Listen to my command outside, rush towards the direction I'm saying, and make sure to give it a stomach perforation. Hear the words of Fong too. Many players were momentarily stunned, then reacted. Good guy. Surprisingly, he still managed to keep this trick. What a dog. Nima. No wonder this monster ate so much metal that its belly swelled up a bit. Okay. Let's play like this. Dog planner, please don't let me know your home address. Everyone be quiet. Let me ask, headwind toss. When everyone roast about the dog's plan, a familiar voice came from above. Looking up. At some point, the Italian cannon had climbed above the monster. Seeing that the Italian cannon was speaking, everyone closed their metal mouths and left this room for these two people who were playing games with their brains. Can you hear me clearly when casting against the wind? Yes, Lao Tai. Cheng. You try to say the direction inside, and I'll command everyone outside to cooperate with you. See if our sense of direction is consistent. Okay. Listening to the words of the Italian cannon, everyone gave a big thumbs up to its clever brain in their hearts. Also, try to stretch your neck as much as possible, or try to maximize your hearing, and prepare to listen to the command of the Italian cannon above. Soon. The sound of throwing against the wind came from the monster's belly. Right front. Hear the words cast against the wind. The Italian artillery immediately began to command. With the monster facing forward, the brothers on the right side of the monster do not move. After 3 seconds, the brothers on the left side of the monster will push hard towards the right front together. 3, 2, 1, who? As the words of the Italian cannon fell, many players on the left side of the monster slammed towards the right side. No. The monster's belly immediately emitted a sound of throwing against the wind. Our sense of direction is not right. You pushed these metals towards my left during the collision just now. Hear the words cast against the wind. The Italian cannon did not directly say where to pitch against the wind, but continued to ask. Headwind toss, did your position shift during the impact just now? Rolled forward a circle. Okay, you continue to give us explosive positions in your position, and I will make adjustments on my end. Okay. Let's move forward this time. There's a lot of metal here and slight bleeding. Upon hearing this, the Italian cannon quickly constructed a spatial map of the positions of both sides in its mind. Lowering his head to command the crowd below, he said. With the monster facing forward, keep the right brother still, and push the left brother to the right together in 3 seconds. When the Italian cannon finished counting down again and everyone pushed to the right together, the monster's throat timely emitted a painful roar. But before everyone could be happy, the monster's body could hear the sound of rushing against the wind. I'll go. This stomach is wriggling wildly. Listen to the sound of casting against the wind. Everyone outside quickly swallowed their words and waited for the follow-up. After waiting for more than 10 seconds, the Italian cannon above spoke again. Head against the wind, report your situation with the monster. Oh. I'm fine, I'm just a little dizzy. This monster. Its stomach is indeed perforated, but the wound is not big. Understood, let's cooperate and confirm your position first, then continue to puncture this monster's stomach. This time, you guys should try colliding straight ahead. By the way, if possible later, you can tell me in which direction you rolled a few laps, so that I can determine your position. Okay. Roar. With the cooperation of all the players, this monster was finally amidst a cry of pain and relief. The peaceful 7 orifices bleeding closed the big eyes of the Kazalan. Looking ahead, there is an unexpected but reasonable scene. Qi Jidong distributed 100 computing power to these players even by synchronizing them through the first player matrix. Numerous players receive rewards as soon as possible. Then the discussion began. Woohoo! The reward is in place. Go out and see what the computing power is for. Finally, it's time to harvest. Let's first remember the beef brother who died and the other brothers. Is anyone there? Can you pull me out of this monster's belly first? And me. I'm in this monster's mouth, although I don't have a sense of smell, the saliva is a bit disgusting. After a simple experiment, many players were surprised to find that the computing power of these 100 seems to be more and stronger than they imagined. For example, now. Not only are there several buddies recording first-hand videos of breaking steel bars over there. A few brothers even jumped up and down around the metal cage several meters high, demonstrating their explosive jumping ability. For everyone in this situation, Qi Ji did not stop them, but allowed them to play freely. After all, if players cannot understand the importance of computing power to themselves, how can they possibly do things for their own sake? Moreover, computing power activates the functions of one's own mechanical body. These wonderful uses of computing power have even greater uses to explore. I think someone will come and trigger it soon. Wait. Rubbing hands. Chapter 8. Trigger Mission, Miracle Walker. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the freshness of many surviving players fades slightly, a player with the ID Landlord's silly son came to Qi Ji's screen. Hello, is there a recharge entrance here? Qi Ji. After a brief silence, Qi Ji squeezed out a mechanical smile on the screen. Sorry, the foolish son of the landlord's family. I have lost a lot of data now, and the recharge function cannot be turned on. Upon hearing this, the foolish son of the landlord's house's mechanical eyes dimmed as he was about to turn around and leave. Qi Ji on the screen spoke again. I just watched the battle of the landlord's foolish son, and I think your combat skills still need improvement. In order for you to survive better on this planet, I think it is necessary to let you understand the correct combat methods. Say it. Qi Ji then sent him a task. Task. Understand the correct combat methods, reward. Unlocking mall permissions, accept/reject, suddenly receiving such a task, the foolish son of the landlord's family was slightly stunned. Immediately, with a sound of lying down, he shouted to the people around him. Come on. The mission has been triggered here. Upon hearing this, many players quickly surrounded and then exchanged ideas with Qi Ji in a simple way. Qi Ji directly sent the same task to everyone. That's right. There isn't even a mall available, making it impossible to even earn money. Take a look again, if there's no big problem, get a $1 membership to play. Understanding the correct combat methods. Is it teaching us combat skills? Zoom do fake do, how can this AI be taught? Watch the video. Half of the crowd in the room clicked accept. Qi Ji directly allocated 1,000 computing power and poured a portion of his data stream into a prepared mechanical body through the Player 1 matrix. Click. 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 Amidst the sound of metal collisions, A robot with a calm face and a mechanical body that was noticeably more exquisite than everyone else walked out of the darkness. Everyone followed the sound and looked. The basic information of this robot appeared in their mechanical eyes. ID, Miracle Walker, Carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-10, energy. 23 hours, 59 minutes, 56 seconds, computing power. 1000/1000, ability. None, his R200 computing power is just hanging like this 1000 computing power. One punch hits 5 of me. Brother, you overestimated yourself. This is NPC, do you know the value of these 3 letters? No, didn't you notice that this new robot face looks like an AI? Chi-Ji. What's strange about this? Is it strange for Brother Chi-Ji to speak up and make his own face? I understand everything, but this ID name. I have a bad idea. Miracle Walker is clearing the wilderness. Miracle Walker is still clearing the wilderness. Miracle Walker is always clearing the wilderness. Ha 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 ha, brother, you understand me. Listening to the voices of everyone's discussion. Chi-Ji, who transformed into a miracle walker, arrived at the center of the crowd's gaze. Clack. Gently snap your finger and hit it. Try lighting up a light in the dimly lit area to illuminate a metal cage. Look along the light. There is a giant spider the size of a pony hanging upside down in that metal cage. This giant spider has 8 thick, spear-like limbs. The shell presents a bright red color, covered in black spots and stripes. The numerous eyeballs on the head appear green under the light, and there are faint drops of green venom in the gray mouthparts. Look at such a monster. Many players in the field couldn't help but feel a hint of happiness in their hearts. Thanks to the little lion that escaped from prison before, otherwise fighting this monster would probably be hanging. Be more confident, remove the estimate, brother, support me, my legs are a bit weak. +1, I've been afraid of this since I was young. Don't be afraid of any difficulties we encounter, face them with a smile. The best way to overcome fear is to face it, come on, Ollie. Listen to the words of many players. Chi-Ji smiled slightly on the screen, controlling the miracle walker to step closer to the iron cage. Come closer. Amidst the screams of numerous players. A 3-claw robotic arm extends from the ground and inserts a tool similar to a cage key into the cage door. Take a gentle turn. Just hear a click. The iron cage gate opened in response. However, unlike the previous monster, this giant red spider did not rush out immediately. But still quietly hanging upside down in the iron cage, waiting for the miracle walker to enter. Regarding this, Chi-Ji was not surprised. After all, when capturing this monster, he found that its intelligence was much higher than other monsters. If we compare this spider monster with the previous lion monster, it's probably the difference between a mature hunter and a novice hunter. The strength gap between the two. Not to mention one day, one place. But if the two were placed in one place, the most likely survivor would be this giant red spider. And it is precisely because this giant red spider has such experience. Chi-Ji chose it as the tool spider for combat demonstration. Push open the iron cage door. Miracle Walker slowly steps into it. Chapter 9. Learning Skills, Opening the Mall. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? At the moment the Miracle Walker enters the cage, the giant red spider suddenly erupted in distress, and its 8 limbs kicked hard on the iron cage, directly rushing towards the Miracle Walker. For such a situation, Chi-Ji, who controls the Miracle Walker, did not panic. When the opponent's spear-like limbs are about to attack oneself, quickly reaching out with both hands to block the opponent's attack and grabbing both of their limbs. The giant red spider is truly a mature hunter. After being caught by the Miracle Walker on both of his limbs, he moved forward instead of retreating. Press your entire body straight towards the miracle walker. Regarding this, the prepared miracle walker directly extended a mechanical leg and, with the help of his hands, pressed against the body of the giant red spider. The giant red spider saw this and opened its gray mouthpiece, ready to bite the mechanical leg of the miracle walker. But just as it was preparing to do so, the two joints that were held by the miracle walker were accompanied by severe pain. Only see. At this moment, the miracle walker's hands are spinning against common sense. It also turns its two limbs into two fried dough twists, and green blood is flowing out of the shell. The giant red spider screamed and wanted to fight back. But the miracle walker had already exerted force on both legs and kicked it away. I only heard a thud. The giant red spider slammed heavily into the metal cage. Flip up from the ground. The giant red spider did not attack recklessly again, but instead used its remaining 6 limbs to climb up to the top of the iron cage again along the spider silk in the cage. Numerous dark green eyes cautiously and dangerously observed the miracle walker, who was still holding onto his 2 limbs. Looking ahead at the giant red spider that still maintains its rationality. Chi-Ji on the screen controls the miracle walker to throw the broken limb aside. He did not approach the other party, but stood in place. It's not that he's looking for opportunities to kill himself or play cat and mouse, but rather prepare to learn some new combat abilities for oneself. In the past, he constantly needed to guard against monsters rushing into this place and manipulate 6 3-claw robotic arms to create new mechanical bodies. Therefore, his computing power is often limited to learning new abilities. Now that it has been determined where the Blue Star is in the Blue Star LAN, then one can naturally unleash the most terrifying ability of AI, especially conscious AI. Learning. With the support of Chi-Ji 11600's computing power and the fact that he has already analyzed related abilities in the past. It's just 10 seconds. A new capability has been added to Chi-Ji's database. For this new ability, Chi-Ji named it Fighting Art and immediately started loading data to the miracle walker in the iron cage. Perhaps it is the instinct of animals. During the process of loading the martial arts in Miracle Walker, the giant red spider began to gradually become restless and restless. When it finally decided to attack Miracle Walker had already completed data loading. Under the attack of the giant red spider, Miracle Walker not only easily avoided it. He even took the initiative to engage in close combat with the other party. And this battle, it also made the players outside the iron cage feel a shudder. Reclining trough. The body is twisted into fried dough twists. Absurd. Amazing. I really know what it means to be so bold, to be so productive. I can still play like this. Brother Meng, besides our hands, our legs can also rotate. Head can't, don't ask me how I know. Can someone come and help me with my body? No. Look carefully at the Miracle Walker's ability bar. How do I feel like there has been some change? Be confident and take away your feelings. Upon hearing the conversation between these two players, the rest of the players in the field quickly focused their attention on Miracle Walker, who was swinging the giant red spider. ID, Miracle Walker, Carrier. First level splicing robot, EP1-10, energy. 23 hours, 55 minutes, 56 seconds, computing power. 1000/1000, ability. Martial arts, coach, I want to learn martial arts. A player with the ID of hot-blooded coach said, brother, Buddy doesn't know either. Don't be poor, I bet this martial arts is definitely a skill. As soon as you say that, my friend is really looking forward to it. With the advent of martial arts, is gun fighting still far away? Hush brother, good idea. Chi-Ji, who is manipulating Miracle Walker to hang giant red spider. Spear fighting technique. This you can have it. Oh, asterisk, glancing at the situation inside the iron cage. Qi, the first generation, the second maturity, and the silence have poured excess computing power into the Blue Star LAN to start a new learning journey. 3 minutes later. Feeling about the same amount of time, Qi directly controlled the miracle walker to smash the giant red spider with a punch. Numerous players have also received timely prompts, understood the correct combat method, and activated the mall permissions. Turn off this prompt. A circular Shang character appears in the upper right corner of the perspective of many players. Regarding this, many players have reached out to this business word with understanding. Mall, fighting art, introduction. A combat skill formed by integrating multiple combat techniques. The stronger the computing power in combat, the more options there are for coping. Loading requirement. Machine computing power. 200 exchange condition. Resource. 2000 gunfight art introduction. A combat skill formed by integrating multiple combat techniques. The stronger the computing power, the more choices of trajectory. Loading requirement. Machine computing power. 500 exchange terms. Resources. 5000 computational power surge introduction. Consuming one's own energy for a short period of time to gain far more computing power than the current one. Level 1 computing power surge. Computing power plus 100, which can be upgraded by surrendering resources. PS, exceeding the maximum computing power capacity of the body will cause damage to the body, please use with caution. Loading requirement. Machine computing power. 800 exchange terms. Resources. 8000. Chapter 10. Resource estimation and planning traps. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is this gunfight the kind of gunfight I want? Don't force me too much. I must learn this gunfighting technique. Even when Jesus comes, he can't stop me. Brother, don't rush to ignite. We don't have a gun on hand. I mean, we don't have enough computing power and resources either. Stop talking. I feel so poor. Resources. You have to earn resources. Yes. Make resources. Listen to the voices of the players. While learning how to manufacture firearms, Qi left behind 5000 computing power to continue learning. On its own, it switches to Miracle Walker and turns to face numerous players. Dear players, if you need to collect resources, I suggest you learn from me about resource collection and submission first. The words have just finished. Many players once again receive task prompts. Task. Follow the Miracle Walker to collect and submit learning resources. Reward. Unlock resource estimation function, accept/reject. Looking at this actively triggered task, many players who were struggling with what kind of resources should be considered as resources immediately gave high praise to this move. Kwai. Whatever you think, come. Now Mom doesn't have to worry about me picking up trash anymore. Is anyone there? Can you dig me out of here? How do I feel like I've forgotten something? Shoo, don't talk, Miracle Walker is starting to demonstrate. After everyone accepted the task, Miracle Walker began demonstrating the collection and submission of resources in front of everyone. Firstly, nature is the small blue diamonds inside these monsters. Players, this at #UN it usually exists in the monster's head and heart, and if lucky, even both will exist. Numerous players. What's the situation? Why is there garbled code again? Shoo, don't interrupt, didn't we all mention data loss before? If we don't read the garbled code, would we just tell you the name? Oh. Miracle Walker. Great, young man, you were able to keep up with my thoughts and help me restore your ID. Oh. It turns out to be the brain supplementing emperor. Keep it up. Keep it up. Next, naturally, there are the corpses of these monsters. In the past, Chi-Ji's method of handling the corpses of these monsters was to directly put them into an energy conversion device. Use their flesh and blood to provide themselves with a small amount of bioenergy. But now Qi Kaishang-ji felt that he might be able to process these materials. Think of it here. Qi Jidong even controls the miracle walker to remove the venomous sacs, fangs, and legs of this giant red spider. Break down these useful things one by one. Then take these things and walk to a platform that has already been prepared, place them on the platform, and press a red button. Click. 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 6 3-claw robotic arms emerged from around the platform, grabbing and placing these materials into different metal boxes. After completing all of this, new prompts have timely emerged from the perspectives of numerous players. I have learned how to collect and submit resources, and the resource estimation function has been activated. Please note that the resource estimation function can only estimate based on existing included items. For initial inclusion, please use the resource submission platform. Look at this prompt. The players were slightly taken aback, but soon they had a strong expectation for this feature. Oh ho! That's interesting. Does that mean we have a chance to become rich in one go? Cha! Every kilogram of iron sheet has 1 resource point, so if we want to get the data that Brother Chi-Ji lost, then we must go against the sky. We don't want so much, just give me a resource full of question marks. Hee 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 hee. You may not believe it, but I just glanced at the broken mechanical body on the ground. 1 arm has 30 resources. Ha ha ha, brother, what are you talking about? Aren't you planning to kill us and exchange resource points? A joke made by a player suddenly dampened the harmonious atmosphere in the venue. Many players have opened the resource estimation permission and looked at each other. Level 1 splicing robot, resource allocation. 300, incomplete first level splicing robot, resource allocation. 280, level 1 splicing robot, resource allocation. 300, incomplete first level splicing robot, resource allocation. 250, players. Feeling the gradually changing atmosphere in the venue. As an Italian cannon who had commanded everyone to take down the monster together, he suddenly punched himself heavily. Dong! I got it. Dog planning is really not human. Everyone heard the words and looked around. But the Italian cannon had already looked up at the crowd and said, "Everyone, let's not fall for the trap. This is another trap set by Dog Strategy." Trap. Brother, can you be more specific? Brother, what came to your mind? Please find the answer. +1. Can you see something again, brother? Solve. Solve. Listen to everyone's words. The Italian cannon did not immediately answer, but instead asked the crowd in reverse. Everyone, do you remember what I said before about how many of us that lion was going to kill? How many people? Didn't we say half of them were 50 people? Yeah. 50 people. What's wrong with this? Is there anything fishy about it? Seeing everyone still remember, the Italian cannon nodded and continued. Brothers, that's where the problem lies. Look at it. The resources required for the 3 abilities in the mall are 2,000, 5,000, and 8,000, totaling 15,000. And if we really follow the dog's plan and sacrifice half of our people, even if the remaining half of the people are all intact, a person's resource share is 300. We multiply these 50 people by 300.